Good morning, good morning. Intentional boundaries. What are intentional boundaries? I believe they're an act of self-love and self-care, even though it took me a while to see and believe that. And I also believe they're essential for creating and ultimately keeping new habits in place, as well as setting the standard for your life and the kind of people that you want to share that life with. So if this is the first time you're joining me, hello and welcome to Morning Mindset. This is the third week of our 5-week series of Reset. And I'm doing a series on living life by your design rather than existing by default. And this week is all about living with intention. And today is about having intentional boundaries. Now, our boundaries do a big thing for us because they define us and they represent the things that we value, as well as reflect the respect that we actually have for ourselves. And if you don't respect yourself, then you're going to allow yourself to be treated like a doormat. That actually reminds me of that Kane and the Gang song, if you don't respect yourself. Anyway, moving on. I won't continue burdening you with my songs. having clear boundaries and intentional boundaries will help you protect and control your space and your world and the things that matter most to you, as well as give you more power over what you want and, of course, what you don't want from those people around you. And that's important because, and you've probably all been there, lack of boundaries invites in disrespectful behavior, and you can end up feeling like you're worthless and not good enough, and all because that person that's supposed to care about you is manipulating you and taking you for granted, or worse. And as I said, at some point we've all been there, right? But eventually that lack of boundaries becomes so problematic because no matter where those boundaries occur, whether it's in the workplace, in personal relationships, and in friendships. And there's a quote, and I forget who says it there, but it says, "You get what you tolerate." And I believe that that's so true because tons of people, myself included, have put up with inconsiderate behavior, pretending it doesn't matter when underneath you really know it does. But we leave it there and we don't do anything about it because it takes courage to set up boundaries, especially when you've been operating without any for most of your life, or, very flimsy ones. So, but mainly, and we do that mainly because our boundaries issues come from lack of self-worth and self-value in the first place. So it takes a certain kind of bravery that you may not feel. Especially if you have an old story running around in your head, right? That unkind negative narrative that says, "Oh, you're worthless and you're unwanted and you're not good enough." And that's just only going to make it harder, isn't it? So, but if you don't set up boundaries, eventually you're going to end up feeling a lot of resentment and getting trapped in that emotional roller coaster of oscillating between anger and then sad. And then I'm sad because I'm angry. Then I'm angry because I'm sad. And it's like this vicious circle. I did some training with Tony Robbins, and they call that the crazy eight, and it is crazy too. There's a lot more to it than that, but I know it took me a long time to set proper boundaries in my life because I was afraid of disappointing people, losing their love and friendship, and not to mention I'd convinced myself that I was just being me, I was just being helpful, and I was just being kind, and all of those things that we tell ourselves. But then I read something that got me thinking a little bit differently, and it says when you're saying yes to someone else, make sure you're not saying no to yourself. And I wrote that out, when I'm saying yes, am I saying no to me? And that's when I started to do some real work on boundaries, especially around that disappointment and fear of rejection of others. But what I've learned in all of that is I've learned that those who actually want you to have an honest, healthy relationship with you and really care about you, don't get upset when you decide to make better boundaries. But the ones that get angry, the ones when you want to reinforce that, the ones who get angry, they're the ones who are actually benefiting from you not having any. So really do think about that. They need you to stay exactly where you are, because if you change, they no longer get that fringe benefits of being your friend. It's actually a catch-22, though, that said, because we've been benefiting from getting our needs met too. And that might be that necessity to feel valued and loved and accepted because they need us so much. Think about that. So it's a catch-22, all right? So I realized all of that while I was learning about lack of boundaries and how important it was to understand what needs I was getting met by allowing someone's poor behavior to continue. Because we do allow it because we're too scared not to. And we've got to understand what each of those needs means. And I had to work out, why am I doing that? Why is that need important to me and how am I benefiting? And that's like a lot of self-reflection right there. So, and then I needed to learn that so I could change it. And you need to do the same thing too. So understand what needs getting met by those people around me, especially if you don't really like what's going on. And you have to be honest about that. I had this on my wall for a long time. The people that matter don't mind. And the people that mind you setting boundaries, that is, don't matter. So tons of questions you can ask yourself before you get to setting new boundaries. It's like, what do you want to change? And why change it now? If you've been like it for years, why bother now, right? What will life be like if you do? And I want you to remember this. If someone reacts negatively towards you saying no, it tells you more about them than it does about who you are. So I've created another anagram because I love doing these. I love making these up. It helps you remember things for setting boundaries and what boundaries actually are. And team have just put that up for me, so that's fantastic. So you can read it too. And I've given a little tip on the end too. So B is for boundaries, right? And I've put in brackets, being aware of having some, because a lot of time we function without any, as I already said. And the O is for only. And again, all these other things are just a tip for you to remember. What does she mean by only? Only saying yes if it's the right thing for you. You being unafraid of saying no, all right? N, never letting that fear of rejection drive your decisions. D, or make you doubt yourself, right? Always be honest is A. And R is respect yourself and others and know that why your personal boundaries are an act of self-love. So as a reminder today is to be intentional with how you live your life. And that's it for me today. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about creating intentional habits. So thank you again for being here. I truly appreciate your time. Super grateful to have you joining me. And if you found this helpful and motivating, I'd love you to leave some feedback in the group or anywhere that I'm on social media. And if you think that this might help others, you can share this mini training with those. And don't forget to join my online community and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to keep up to with the latest trainings, absolutely subscribe to my YouTube channel. So my greatest wish for you is that you be MindFit. Start thinking about all these things. Everything I talk about is being MindFit, is having strategies. And I want you to be MindFit so you can live your best life and you can live it with passion. And as always, reset, be authentic, and be you. And I just caught sight of the word comments. So let's have a look and see what comments we have. Mark Solomon, good morning. You're always the first nearly to say good morning, Mark. And Santosh, if that's you, self-respect is so important. A funny song, funny the way that I'm singing it. Yeah. And I saw another one from Santosh saying, yes, it's a very negative cycle. By the way, that was me on LinkedIn. I thought so. So good morning twice. And Mark Sullivan said, very easygoing person, no boundaries. Yeah, can be, for sure. And Parker, I think it's hardest to apply boundaries with the ones we love. It sure is, because you don't want them to disappoint them. You want to do everything for them. I get caught out like that all the time still, even though I'm really good with my boundaries. Well, I need to work on some. And Mark Sullivan says, love the anagrams. It's easy, isn't it? Because you just think boundary. Like, what was it? All those things. Yeah, I love making them too. I think they help keep your brain, your mind fit. Thank you. Thank you for those comments. It was lovely. Remember to reset, be authentic, and be you.